We'll call this meeting to order. This is a continuation of our last meeting, but we do have a set of minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yes, sir, I have to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, we, just to kind of go, I mean, most everybody was here previously, but just to kind of go over, what was in the minutes and what was discussed from the last meeting. The request for rezoning, was denied by a tie vote, 2-2, with one abstention. There was some additional discussion about special use permits. And, so the case was tabled until we had some clear answers on the tie vote and some additional information and questions, concerning some zoning status of the area north of this, property, which was the old hotel. And there was some confusion, or maybe not confusion, but there were some people who thought that it was commercial, which would have been a concern if we had approved the rezoning, because we didn't want to have what's called a spot zone. But Pam, you've done some research. I should probably go ahead and ask if you've got anything to report or anything to say.
So I have done more research on the lot north of the church. I cannot find anything. I went as far back as I could, to see if I can find anything that stated that it has been zoned commercial, and I can't find anything, like the zoning now that we have. To rezone something, you have to have an ordinance to rezone it, so the council will have to approve of it. So I was thinking if it was rezoned to commercial, I would be able to find an ordinance to state that, but I can't. I do know that, the county, what they have there is for tax purposes only. But, I call over there anyway, just to get a little bit more information of when it was changed hands and that kind of stuff. And the appraiser's office had that lot as a residential, and the register of deed does not have anything that state whether it's commercial or residential. So, I mean, since I can't find anything except like, what people say, I don't know how you guys wanted to handle that. Since here's an older map, zoning map that, Dennis has brought in back in
75 through 79.
75 to 79, and as you can see that the lot north of that church is residential. And that match our current zoning map.
And this is just what I would contend is a worksheet, that no meaning was, the official zoning map at that time.
Yeah, I ran across some newspaper articles that stated that the previous owner purchased it, intended to restore it as a hotel, so at that point it should have been commercial.
Yeah.
And then they got crossways with the city or something and ended up tearing it down. And then the Methodist Church bought it with the intention of putting a parking lot in, which would be commercial. A parking lot, yeah. And then Bobby bought it after that. So there's no actual
Paper
legal documentation, but there's newspaper articles and things like that.
Well, in my opinion too is, even so, when our zoning regulations were adopted in 2011, those became the official zoning regulations and map. So that's really the only thing we've got to go on, is based on our current zoning regulations. And we did receive an answer from the city attorney about the tie vote, which a tie vote, is basically a no vote. So, with that in mind, the case was, voted no. We did not approve the rezoning case.
Can you speak up, please?
Sorry.
Yes, it's so hard to do,
I know.
you know, and we need some speakers or microphones. So with that in mind, reading Robert's Rules of Order, we would have to, if we want to continue in a direction of looking at additional information, we would need to ask the commission to make a motion to rescind this vote and reconsider our options to take into account added information or change situations that have developed since taking the vote originally. And the only people that can make that motion are the two commissioners who were on the winning side of the vote. That would be the no, which would be the no votes. So if you choose to, we can continue on with further discussion, or if not, then it stops right here and goes directly to the city council as a no.
I move to rescind the motion from the public hearing regarding the rezoning case number Z-2024-01 on November the 29th, so we can revisit the topic for more discussion.
Okay, I've got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Yep. So we have a motion and a second to rescind this vote, and I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Okay. So with that in mind, we can continue on with the discussion, and you know, I initially made the motion to approve the rezoning to R1, and that was based on the fact that, you know, in my opinion, the property to the north of that was residential, so it could possibly be rezoned. The confusion that I had at that time was when they talked about it being commercial, is that it would have created a spot zone, and nobody likes to have spot zoning, which is just a little island within a zoning area. So, with that, we've got some options here. We can deny the rezoning as previously voted, or we can approve the rezoning subject to the new evidence. Approve, and this was under discussion previously also, was with the special use. We could approve a special use for residential use with the condition that it meets all the general requirements of the zoning regulations along with the R1 zoning requirements, and that the car must be moved from the front yard. Special uses are valid for only 1 year until the governing body may authorize extensions upon written request. And if we want to do that, I mean, the question still remains whether or not, if we choose to go with a special use like we did previously, if we have to have another public hearing and meeting, which probably that would be the safest bet to do if that's what we decide to do. So if we decide to go with a special use, we'll have to, I guess it wouldn't be a table, but it would just be a matter of continuing with a public hearing and another meeting to discuss a special use.
You have to deny the change of zoning permit right now,
Yeah,
and then they'll have to resubmit, and then we'll have to
Yeah.
have another public
that would,
hearing.
that would be, going through this.
You're right.
Well, we have, we've rescinded it, which basically meant that we've denied the vote. So it's not there anymore.
Yeah, but the rezoning about, like the application for rezoning, it's still
The
there.
application, it's there, but we voted no to approve it.
Okay.
So we'd have to consider these options again.
Okay.
Can I ask a
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, the public hearing part of this is closed, but it would be up to the commission if you choose to, ask or answer any questions of the public at this time.
It's not a question about what, I just don't understand. I thought y'all just voted to rescind the no vote.
Yeah, we did. So it's not there anymore.
Okay,
Yeah, we rescinded the vote.
okay.
So now we have an option to approve it or to deny it, or if we choose to discuss going through a special use again. We'll have to go through that. So if, again, if there's anybody that has something that they wanna say that wasn't said before, it's totally up to this commission if you want to hear any other questions or comments. Would anybody be okay with that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Okay.
I don't have a problem if someone wants to speak. So,
I guess I just want to ask one question. For those that don't want it to happen, the rezoning, explain why. A good, logical, respectful reason why.
rezoning, to change it to residential,
Correct.
okay? Because that whole block is, that would be the only thing on there that is residential. The rest of it is commercial.
Correct.
So if we would happen to go ahead and accept that and rezone that, guess what? It's gonna open up a whole brand new book.
As what?
Any other place in this community can come and say, hey, will you rezone this for me? And we're like, and I don't wanna go there. I really do not want to go there. That's why we sat here for hours and hours and hours when we did the zoning book in 2011. Kevin Davis was on the council. I was mayor of St. John. And we went over and we spent hours and days doing this. And I think it was done very well. So that whole block over there is commercial.
Correct.
Okay, so.
However, are you gonna go around town and all these little places that have little businesses out of their home? Are you going to say, hey, you can't do that because it's residential and it's not commercial?
That's in our codes that they can do that, if I'm correct. Am I correct, Pam?
You can have
Or in
it
our
a
zoning book.
business,
Home occupation.
home occupation.
I
Business.
personally feel, you, Jill, may have that reason, but I personally feel some of it's personal. And I'm not saying you, but there are some. And I think it's very unfair for this couple who has worked their hearts out this year to make a place that you all would have let rot down and take as a tax. No, they're making something good. And I think it's really un-Christian, unthinkable that you would even consider not doing it. And that's just my opinion. I
Well-
love our town, I love our people. We are not split on this issue. There might be 5 or 6 people that would vote no. The rest of the town, I think we're pretty much in agreement that it's a really shitty thing you're all doing, and you can quote me.
And
Thank you.
And I get where, Sandy, I mean, I wouldn't say that, the zoning board did their job, okay?
I'm not saying that.
Okay, so, then it went to council, and so there is codes and regulation that was supposed to be met. and that would have been in June or May, June,
Correct?
somewhere around there, coming up on a year from now. Those codes and regulations were not met at the time when Dorothy and Mike, am I correct, their names, moved in. And so at the time, when we voted on this to give them the special use, that night that we gave the special use, we looked at the realtor and said, will you let these people know they cannot move in till the council makes a decision? That's part of the process. So the answer to us was yes. I will call them right now. Okay? So was it done? I don't know. That's where I made a mistake. And I will admit, the zoning board should have picked up the phone themselves and said, look, we've issued you a special permit, but you cannot move in till the council votes on this. So I learned something from that.
Okay, don't you just think this is a really major comedy of errors? There's errors everywhere. Let's just wipe the
Okay.
slate and go back.
I
But that's enough. I
I'd
know
really
we're
like
not
to
supposed to
move on.
discuss. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Dennis.
Any other comments or questions? Basically questions if you have any.
Yeah, correct.
Regarding what we're doing tonight. Which we haven't done anything yet.
No.
Okay, I guess we'll move on. So the next thing would be, to determine what option that we want to take. I gave you 3 options. It would be up to you all to make a motion on which option you decide to do, to deny the zoning request, to approve the zoning request, or move forward and have a special use hearing for the residential use. And I might add that, and I said that a special use is only good for 1 year. And so the city council can extend that with a written request. And I'd like to say that if we do that, that we go farther into the process of looking at what's called a protective overlay district. It's in our subdivision regulations, but we've never used it before, but it's really kind of a district that meets things halfway. The underlying zone would remain commercial. It would still be zone commercial, but you allow the overlay to be, in this specific case, R1 or residential. So you have to follow basically both requirements until such time that changes. There's a lot of residential homes located within the downtown commercial zone. We have, I think we have a few people that are living in the lower levels of the downtown commercial zone. There's even right there in the window, there's 2 houses. That's zone commercial, but we have residential homes there. So we have to go through, I've got a list of like 10 or 11 residential homes that we need to take a look at and create that protective overlay zone so that people who are living in those homes can remain there and it be residential, but at some point in time, if it ever happens, it can turn back to a conditional use or a commercial use. So that's something that we could take a look at. That's kind of a compromise or meeting people halfway.
And you
So-
said David didn't get hold of you on that issue.
But I would have to agree with Dennis that if you guys are wanting to do something different, I think the special use might be the best way to go. Cause like he said, if we granted it to them, they will have to follow the residential code plus the commercial code, which mean that there is no parking in the front yard, there's no outside storage, there's, I can't remember, I had a list now, but, that would take care of a lot of the issue that have gotten brought to me.
Well, and I think if we do that also, I think it would be very beneficial and important that we report to the city council, because I know that there was concerns the last time when it was denied, but knowing that in this particular case that the property could still be commercial, and that's not affected, but allowing a different use, maybe it'll go through this next time. So it's up to you, if someone wants to make a motion on what you wanna do.
I'll make a motion for a special use permit under, residential restrictions codes.
Yeah, still have to follow.
Still have to follow the
the-
codes.
yeah.
And commercial codes.
And
correct?
commercial
Yeah.
codes, correct.
So
And
we have-
yet, and yes, I know we don't have a code enforcer, but I think it needs to be set right here, right now, that if that's what the zoning board has to do, including zoning, then we will.
So I have a motion to move forward and consider a special use permit for this property. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Should I
opposed?
be abstaining?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I didn't vote.
it was a continuation of the last meeting, so
That's
you're
what I
still.
thought. Oh, I didn't vote.
All those opposed, say nay. So we have a 4 votes in favor and 1 abstention.
Now, oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, with that in mind, we've discussed what we probably need to do is go ahead and prepare another hearing. There won't be any, we'll waive the fees on any additional work that needs to be done in that regard. So that is gonna delay the process a little bit, but we could probably get that scheduled fairly quickly.
Sent notice out tomorrow, so 20 days from now would be, 20 days from tomorrow will be 21st. No, 20th.
You have how many days?
Today's the fifth.
Today's the fifth.
Be the 25th.
25th, my bad. I'm not even in the right month. Right?
Well, from tomorrow, 26th.
Yeah.
26th. Thank you.
Okay. We have no other new business.
Oh, wait a minute, yes.
Hmm?
But also you have to remember that we voted on it, we passed it as a zoning board, now it will go to council. Okay, does everybody understand that? Okay? So once it leaves our hands, it goes to council, and city council has to vote on it from there.
And there is actually, we still have a 14-day protest period. So anybody within the legal notification area chooses to protest the decision that we made tonight, we've got 14 days. And there's a special, we have a form that Pam can provide for anybody who wants to do that.
But that will be done after the 26th.
Yeah, that's right. We have to have our meeting first before we
Right.
protest.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what, Pam?
Yes.
Is there any other new business? work session tonight. So I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. So that's it. So we'll meet again on what date?
So 26.
Six.
We'll meet again on the 26th.
At 5:30.
At 5:30.
This- yeah, this